Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, I am Ed Humpherson. I'm head of the Office for Statistics Regulation. I'm very happy to be here this afternoon, and as it will become obvious from what I'm going to say, I'm a very big fan of PEDRI. It's been a busy time for my organisation over the last few months, but today I'm not going to talk about our finding that on economic statistics the ONS needs to urgently restore confidence. This is a pair of graphs about declining response rates to some of the key ONS surveys. Nor am I going to talk about our finding that a DWP media release a couple of months ago was entirely misleading. In our world, that's like bad, right? That's as bad as you can get to be entirely misleading. I'm not going to talk about that. And breaking with all traditions in modern presentations, I'm going to say anything at all about AI apart from having a slide saying I'm not going to talk about AI in a very sort of meta kind of way. So I'm not going to talk about that. What I am going to talk about is 4 things that I have learned from PEDRI. That public engagement is the essence of TQV. What is TQV? I hear you ask. You'll find out. I'm going to say how I've learned that there is not one public. I'm going to talk about briefly how public engagement is essential to data sharing and linkage, and I'm going to talk about the importance of partnerships. But first, who are we at the Office for Statistics Regulation? Well, we are a public body established to ensure that statistics serve the public good. And we do 3 things. We review how official statistics are produced through a code of practice, and then we award an accreditation. We review how statistics are valued in society through research, and we step in if we think that statistics are being misinterpreted or misused. And that leads to these kinds of headlines like DWP condemned by Statistics Watchdog for entirely misleading work capability assessment figures. That's what we do. Everything we do is underpinned by 3 principles of trustworthiness, quality, and value. If you pick up any piece of work that we do, these 3 principles will flow through everything. And what I have learned from PEDRI is that public involvement and engagement are central to trustworthiness, quality, and value. Trustworthiness, because public involvement and engagement involves demonstrating that the organisation has the interests of its audiences and its beneficiaries at its heart. Quality, because this form of involvement and engagement ensures that data are generated with a full understanding of the social context that they emerge from. And value, because through proper engagement, proper involvement, statistics answer people's questions and they're a product themselves of true partnership. That adds value. I've also learned from PEDRI that there is not a single public. So when we talk about the public good of statistics, we think of 3 distinct purposes: informing decisions, allowing people to hold governments to account, and enhancing understanding of society and the economy. But actually the audiences, the publics that relate to these purposes are very distinct. So informing decisions is a very classically kind of macro, central, I sometimes think of it rather unkindly as being an elitist worldview, a technocratic worldview, whereby policymakers at the centre of government or at the Bank of England use statistics to inform their decisions. It's important, but it's quite a narrow notion of the public. Holding government to account, of course, is a much broader range of actors in society do that. This is more democratic, it's less technocratic, and it involves a broader notion of the public, including civil society, media, and so on. But in terms of understanding our world, the world we live in, the world we move through, that's an enormous range of audiences. And in our work, you will often see us highlighting this as the most important role of statistics, to inform all actors in society, including community groups, citizens, civil society of all kinds, about the world they live in and enabling them to understand their environment and their context and to be seen in that context. Understanding there's not a single public we've taken into our work, we've actually done some citizen-based research where we've researched the wide range of uses of statistics, and we discovered that quite in contrast to this elitist technocratic model where statistics are really only used by experts, that actually individual citizens can enumerate a wide range of uses of statistics in their personal lives. And if you go to our website, you can find our Statistics in Personal Decision-Making report. It outlines all of this. The one I think is particularly interesting is that people use statistics without even realizing it. They will say things like, I was moving area and I wanted to decide whether it was a safe area to go to, so I looked at crime statistics. And then I say, oh, actually, no, maybe I do use statistics because I did that. It's a very interesting sort of iterative process of understanding that we held with members of the public. We also have learned that public engagement involvement is essential for data sharing and linkage. We have done 2 big reviews of government-wide data sharing and linkage, July 23, July 24, and in those reports we've highlighted the extent to which there are still barriers to data sharing and linkage. And one of the most significant barriers is a sort of a fear within government of public engagement, a worry that by telling people what is being done with their data, it might in some way kind of inhibit permissions. We think exactly the opposite. We think public engagement and social license can be learnt, discovered, built, and developed. And we identified this as a critical success factor, testing the social license. And indeed, in our 2024 report, we picked out PEDRI as being the leader of good practice standards and the community of people who want to undertake these activities. So this is a quote, PEDRI has undertaken positive work to develop guidelines to help researchers conduct public engagement, which, when published, will strengthen this important aspect of research activity. And we've built on that and actually built it into our own practices. So we are developing a new code of practice for statistics. That's going to have a much stronger emphasis on public engagement and social acceptability. We have a draft new standard. I won't read it out, but we're developing this as a standard which we will require government to comply with. And we are also developing a toolkit for public engagement for statistical producers that they can use in partnership with Connected by Data. And the fourth thing that we've learned from PEDRI is the power of partnership. We're really struck by the coalition, the alliance that PEDRI represents. We're proud to be a part of it, but we're also seeing the power of partnerships in our own work, how partnerships are not really for the glory of the individual organisation, they're about a collective alliance. So we have a series of partnerships that we're building, Royal Statistical Society, Advertising Standards Authority and so on, and we're proud that PEDRI is one of those organisations that we consider to be a partner in the overall endeavour of ensuring that the data and statistics used in the public domain have integrity, or, as we often say, they are trustworthy, have quality and have value. So, just to sum up, I'm not going to talk about the challenges that ONS is facing. I'm not going to talk about the ways in which uses of statistics are entirely misleading. And I'm not talking about AI. I'm talking about the reasons I like PEDRI, and it's these 4 reasons. Thank you very much.